Everyone take note of this. Jessica just admitted she teared up in a movie.
I don't have a cold heart entirely.
It's a miracle.
I'm just...
Hey everybody, welcome back to Eye to Eye Disney Through Our Eyes. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jessica.
So we are going to try to figure out on this spoiler-filled review of Aladdin which one is better.
I already know the answer to this.
The 1992 version of Aladdin or the 2019 version of Aladdin?
I'm not saying it now. I'm just saying I already have my answer.
Don't just, we gotta save it for this, but let's talk about it in some detail right here so we can figure all this stuff out. So when I ask you Aladdin 2019 version, first of all, folks, let me remind you here, this is spoiler filled. There are spoilers, things you don't know about for this movie, so don't watch past this point if you haven't seen it yet. When I say the movie Aladdin 2019, what do you think about?
Woo!
That's it? Just woo? That's all
That's
I
what
get?
I think. You know what I think about? I think about the Prince Ali.
I'm still thrown off by woo. I'm sorry. But keep going.
The Prince Ali song where there's lots of fireworks and there's the genie dancing and there's all those extra people dancing. So that's where my woo comes in. I think about the wedding at the end of the movie. And there's like people like clapping and kissing and singing and woo.
There's a lot of kissing in that? I didn't see all that.
Yes, there's a lot of kissing.
Oh, wow.
And then I think about the addition of Dahlia, the extra character, and I think about her friendship with Jasmine and woo.
I asked for one thing.
I was just saying, like, this is very important, people. There's a lot of woo.
Okay, so Jessica gives it 5 woos, I guess, is what she's saying right here.
Is it 5 woos or would it be woo-hoos?
Oh my gosh. We're gonna move past that. That was awful. One of the worst jokes I was ever told. Okay. Let's talk about this. How about it? I'll let you go and answer the question. 1992 versus 2019, which one's better? I
mean, obviously, you know my answer. 2019 for the win. By a landslide.
This is so hard to answer because...
No, it's not.
No, it is because...
No, it's not.
How do you beat the original? I'm
not saying that it's beating it. I'm just saying it wins.
Isn't that what winning is?
It's different.
Here's the thing.
But it's better.
People already have the notion that because it's a remake, it's not going to be as good. You can't beat Robin Williams.
That's what I went into
You can't beat
thinking.
The music, all this stuff.
Then you meet Will Smith.
So I think it's a statement you have to make beforehand that the 1990 version and this one are equally good, but they are possibly better for the 2019 for some other reason. I do think there are some things that are not in this movie that I miss.
That you miss.
But at the same time, I think addition by subtraction and subtraction by addition in some areas is really good.
When did we get into math?
I'm just saying here.
So are you saying that this one's better to you too?
I think so. I really do. And I hate to say that as a nostalgia freak because
You are a nostalgia freak.
But I can't deny the amount of fun I had in this movie.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about some of that fun. So music, obviously.
I knew you were going there.
That was the most fun of this whole movie.
Well, and then what were these type of movies when the original stories, when they came out, what were you most known for? The music. Coming out of it. You were singing, Prince Ali, A Whole New World. You were singing The Circle of Life. For whatever Disney. I know, I was just giving an example. Those movies that they're being remade from that era, they were known for the music. And while I think if I may compare like Beauty and the Beast, which we've done a review for back 2 years ago when we started this channel, I think we like the music. There's especially one song from that I think we really like, but I think we didn't take away a lot from that in terms of the music. Like we would prefer to hear almost the original versions of the songs. I can't say that for the original Aladdin versus this one. I have listened nonstop the album online. I cannot get enough of Will Smith in A Friend Like Me, A Whole New World with Mina and Naomi singing it. Like, it is just awesome.
But folks. I think listening to the soundtrack, you miss so much of it too, because to me, the most fun was the dancing and everything that comes along with it. And, we kind of talked about this a little bit in our spoiler-free review, but the hip-hop dancing and the actual, the difference in the songs that they added, the different beats and everything, it is so much fun in this movie.
Well, I think what they did a good job of it, if you're going to introduce an element like hip-hop that wasn't in the original one, you don't need to make it blatantly obvious that's what you're doing.
Correct. This was pretty... subtle.
It's not subtle. It's just they had a lot going on around it as well. So you're not solely focused on the guy doing break dancing in the middle. Yeah. There's also these other dancers doing the normal traditional dancing of the area that you'd see on the side, and then all of a sudden the next person will doing a break dance, and they'll switch back into this.
But I love that that's what you get out of Will Smith too, because being a '90s kid,
yes,
that's what I expect from Will Smith and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and just that hip-hop generation of the fun music and the fun dancing.
And I didn't realize he could sing really well.
Gosh, who knew?
Naomi can sing really well.
I anticipated that. I mean, you can't play the role.
She could sing that well.
You can't play the role of Jasmine and not be able to sing.
She didn't sing but one song in the original. She gets her own one in this. So look, we're jumping around a lot of songs here. Let's answer this question about the music. Favorite song from this movie, from this version of the movie?
Friend Like Me.
For me, it's Arabian Nights. I have been listening to all the other songs. I'm glad I didn't listen to Arabian Nights online before we watched this one, because it really put me in the mood for this movie.
That's fair.
Whereas some of the other ones, you kind of know what you're getting. I don't know, it was just something the way that Will Smith was singing Arabian Nights, and then the way that the tones were, it just was like, okay, this is something familiar, but it's going to be something a little bit different as well.
That's fair. You know what else I loved?
What?
I think we can't not talk about it. We have to talk about the addition of the song Speechless.
Yes.
This was not in the original film, and I just think it made me tear up the first rendition of it.
Are you admitting that you got a tear in your eye?
Yes.
What just happened live on... Everyone take note of this. Jessica just admitted she teared up in a movie.
I don't have a cold heart entirely.
It's a miracle.
I'm just saying, it was a really good song, and it was really touching.
Yeah.
And it just makes you feel like, oh, they understand my life. No, it's just, it means everybody. You know,
so here's the thing, is,
it's relatable.
There are some things that sometimes can go overboard, and just to be quite frank, sometimes the girl power thing can go a little overboard, just like it can go overboard the other ways. This was not about this. This was not about man versus woman. This was about an individual.
This was about empowerment regardless of gender.
And her knowing
and I loved it.
How powerful and how right she was for the position of, here's your first spoiler, Sultan, and knowing that she was the right person to care for her people.
Yep.
The amount of depth that song, and then the other additions for her story that gave Jasmine through Nameless Scott, was what won me over. In our non-spoiler review, I said she was my favorite character. She is by far the best live-action princess thus far. And I liked Emma Watson as Belle. Didn't love it, but I liked her. And she was probably my favorite up to that point.
She was the only one.
Well, no, because there's Sleeping Beauty. There's
Cinderella.
Okay,
fair. Okay, you win.
Still I haven't done yet.
No, you win. You win! Jasmine.
So, great additions. And look, everybody was worried about Friend Like Me for Will Smith singing it.
Man.
God, it's so good. I was just sitting there tapping my foot the whole time.
Good. And it kind of reminds you of the scene from Beauty and the Beast, the food. What is that?
Be our guest.
Duh,
yes.
Jessica.
So that's like the toe tapping song.
But that's kind of because you had all these things happening and things flying, and then the main character was like flying through the middle of it, and that's why it reminded me of Be Our Guest, because it was like that same feel, completely different song, completely different beat, everything, but just the things that you watched on the TV.
So let's cover
the screen.
Let's cover the controversial topic, since we just got done talking about Be Like Me. Will Smith versus Robin Williams as the Genie.
So I don't think you can say versus.
Thank you.
Because I don't think it's the same.
Yes.
It's not the same. And I don't think it's fair to compare either way.
Right.
Robin Williams will always be the original. Yep. He will always be amazing. Mm-hmm. Will Smith had an impossible job. Because especially in light of Robin Williams' death and everything that happened surrounding that, there was no way that Will Smith could ever live up to the Robin Williams that we know and love. However, there was a way for Will Smith to come in, do it completely different, and us love it. And that's exactly what happened. He put a great spin on it that was truly Will Smith, and I never felt like I missed Robin Williams, because this is not how Robin Williams would have done the character.
Well, and I think I pointed this out to you during the movie. I tried to, but I said it afterwards, that Will Smith, or excuse me, Genie, had a line in there. And I'm going to try not to butcher it like I did when I was explaining to her. But essentially, he looks at Aladdin and says, the genie magic is just a facade. It's the real character that comes out. And I know I butchered it there. But I think that was their way of acknowledging in the movie, kind of breaking the fourth wall a little bit and saying, it's not about the genie, but the person behind the genie is what brought it out. And Robin Williams brought himself to the role of the genie, and so did Will Smith. And I think while you know it's Will Smith, I mean, it's going to look like it's live action, come on, you still accept it because of the way he was able to bring some of the elements that Williams did with the crazy asides where he's turning into a mummy or he's got two heads popping out in the side. But at the same time, it's still that kind of, Fresh Prince, from from West Egg or Bob.
Yeah, that was good.
So I know it's a controversial topic, and we're not trying to say that one is better than the other.
No, they're just different.
But Will Smith deserves his place in history for Disney for this role. I think he did a great job all the way around. That being said, let's talk about something that I think you and I both agree we didn't really like, and that is the character of Jafar. But she already forgot about it. That's how much she didn't like it.
Here's what I didn't like about it.
Right.
In the original movie, Jafar is this sleazy, slimy, sickly, skinny, like snake-looking like.
And that's what you wanted,
character.
Apparently.
Well, that's what I anticipated. And then in this movie, you get a normal-looking guy who is a slime
Define normal.
He doesn't have he doesn't have a prominent nose. His face isn't sunken in. He looks like a normal guy. He just looks nice. And the character wasn't as slimy and sleazeball as in the original movie.
Right.
You don't realize, if this was the first time I'd ever seen the movie, I'd be like, oh, Jafar's kind of weird, but I don't know that I'd know that he was evil.
Right.
And psychotic.
Yeah.
So I was a little disappointed that wasn't brought about. And I also was a little disappointed that Iago wasn't
as animated.
Developed. Yeah. His character wasn't as developed as much.
Well, so here's something. Let me take what you just said first before I come back to Jafar. We talk about subtraction by addition, addition by subtraction. One of the things they subtracted was a lot of the character development.
A lot of math.
I know. From some of these minor characters. So Iago, Carpet, Abu, even Raja to a certain extent. And the Sultan, first of all. I mean, he really, I don't know which way they could have given him more time, but they took a lot of those moments and character development segments to give more to Jasmine, which was well-deserved, to Dahlia, to Genie, to Aladdin. And they tried to give it to Jafar. And there was a moment where I was really like, okay, I like the way this is heading with Jafar. They're making him the antithesis of Aladdin. The same story, which, spoiler here as well, is that he was a street rat at one time too, and cheated his way to the top, or to second in command. It wasn't good enough for him. You're going to drink from that cup, is what Genie says. And they went, I just think at the end, there were some things that were left to be desired. I don't think it had anything to do with Marwan Kenzari's portrayal of him.
No.
I think he gave what he was asked to do. I just think, they lacked the big snake at the end.
Yes. I missed that a lot.
Yes.
And there wasn't as many times with his staff, his rod, where he used the eyes.
It wasn't as obvious too.
Yeah, I felt like if I hadn't seen the original, I would be missing that.
Mm-hmm. So
I wouldn't understand.
Does the lack of Jafar turning into a snake, does that ruin it for me? No, it was a disappointment for me.
It was because it didn't show how powerful he had become.
Right.
I think we missed that.
He still becomes the big genie, and I think that's
correct. But in the original, remember, he became the big snake, and Aladdin had to save the day and stab him. There's a lot more of Aladdin being this big hero, and in this movie, Aladdin's not a hero. Aladdin's a normal guy
That's a good point. I didn't think about that yet.
That's just Jasmine falls in love with. But in the original, he was a hero. He killed Jafar, essentially.
So what about this, though? So essentially, as we've already talked about, they gave more character development, more time to Jasmine, so she can become, even though Aladdin's the title character, she becomes, in some ways, just as much of a hero as Aladdin is.
I was going to say, Jasmine was much more of a hero.
So are you okay with the less of a hero type for Aladdin for the sake of Jasmine getting what she got in terms of...
I'm okay with that because I liked the addition of her becoming the new Sultan.
Right.
So I'm not mad about it.
I thought that was a real nice way to be respectful of the cultures that obviously, whether you agree with it or not, at least at that time, they tended to be very patriarchal, that it was only the men that were going to be the leaders. For them to not make a big deal about it, but for this father to look at her and say,
"You're ready. You deserve
I've
this.
seen this because of the way you handle this terrible circumstances right now. That I can pass this off to you and let you be sultan and change the law for you to marry whoever you desire another prince. And therefore, that's how Aladdin and Jasmine come together at the end. And I really liked Mina and Naomi's charisma and what's the word I'm looking for? Chemistry together as Aladdin and Jasmine. It didn't feel overly lovey-dovey.
Correct.
But it felt like that almost schoolboy and girl type crush that was developing into something. I think it made their relationship more realistic than it did the other thing.
I like it.
I'm sure we covered a lot of ground here. Additions, subtractions, Jafar, Genie, Jasmine, Dahlia. We liked her addition in this one. I thought that she was a great character, and her, apparently another spoiler, being the wife of Genie once he's freed.
That was one of my favorite scenes at the end of the movie when Genie and Dahlia are like, I don't know if they were married at that point, but you know, in love. And then Aladdin and Jasmine are getting married. And I was like, oh, the four of them.
It's all everybody's together. One big happy family.
Right.
By the way, I saw that coming. When they didn't show her face on the boat at the beginning, I was like, that's her. I know it already. Like, I looked over you and I said, got it figured out already.
I'm glad I didn't know, though.
It was a nice, for someone who's not overly observant like I am, it was a great surprise, but I saw it coming. You're not calling me out? No, I'm just saying, like, sometimes to a fault.
Sure.
We're going to start arguing now.
It's fine.
Not enough time for that. Anyway, that is our spoiler-filled thoughts and review of Aladdin 2019. Now, I want to know from you in the comments below, what are your spoiler-filled thoughts, opinions, comments, controversial statements that you want to make? But be friendly down there below. And let's just answer this question down there. Did you like the movie Aladdin overall? What do you think about it? Just let us know all that in the comment section below and vote in our poll as well. What else should we do?
If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to turn on that notification bell so that you get notified every time we come out with a new video. And be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And that's all we have for this edition of Eye to Eye. But until we assemble again,
may the force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye, y'all.
You ain't never had a friend like me. Had them 40 thieves, share is out of 1,000 because up your sleeve. You got a brand of magic never fails. You got some power in your corner now. You got some ammunition in your camp. 1999? 1990. Whoa, hold on, I got the dates wrong. 1990.